Right, coming to you live from Instagram, Facebook, many Facebooks, and YouTube. It's Amanda Golightly from Align Natural Health. I'm here with Kate also.
I'm Kate McDowell, also from Align Natural Health.
So today, what are we talking about today?
So today, our goal, we wanted to talk to you about parasites. And we have a full moon coming up tonight, as well as an eclipse, both of which have a really big impact on our bodies. So yeah, this is something we wanted to talk to you about. Parasites is not a pleasant conversation, but it's a really important one. And a lot of people typically get a lot of value from it. So that's what we wanted to share with you today.
Perfect. How full moon? Why are parasites so prevalent around the full moon? What's going on with them there?
Around the full moon, I mean, it's a time where the tides of the ocean change based on the moon patterns. It impacts water, basically, if you think of that. And parasites, a lot of them are made up of water, and ultimately, so are we, right?
Exactly.
So when there's a full moon and when there's changes to the tides of the ocean, there's going to be changes in our systems too. And parasites are also there's like a correlation with melatonin and serotonin. And when melatonin levels are low, which tends to happen around the full moon, that's when people can have higher levels of parasitic activity in their systems. So yeah, it makes a really big difference. And a lot of the times, I mean, you can talk about this as well, Amanda. I know you have a history in working in a vet clinic. And when you work with people or in like medical, have you ever noticed that people act different around the full moon? I know I
Yeah.
certainly
It was always something that was talked about with because I used to work at a vet's office years ago. And it was definitely something that was commented on. It's the full moon. Okay, the people are going to be acting different, and even animals, the same thing. So it's very interesting. And I know we've heard from other people in like emergency services as well, as far as that being a common theme. Anything where you're working with people, even in retail, because I know that's where you've worked as well, and people just they just act a little different around the full moon.
Yeah. And I mean, ultimately, so why? Why do you care? Why do you care that parasites are more of a problem around the full moon? You're going to have a lot of symptoms that maybe you haven't recognized, but a lot of the times these are things that when people come to us, they're like, oh, I have headaches once a month and I have anxiety and it's worse at different times of the month. It's not all the time. Or, my child grinds their teeth and I notice that the teeth grinding is a lot worse. But a lot of the times we can't like pinpoint or put our finger on when this happens, but if you start to pay attention, you
Hmm.
probably will notice that these things can be worse around the full moon. And parasites are a big part of this. They eat our neurotransmitters in our brain, first of all, and in our gut as well, because like 50% of our dopamine is made in our gut. 95% of our serotonin, which is our feel good hormone, is made in our gut. And if your parasites are active this time of the month and they're eating your feel good hormones, you're not going to feel very good. This is why you may have more anxiety, more irritability. And this is where, changes in mood, changes in sleep. You could have like bit more headaches. There's so many different symptoms and different things we can deal with. And this time of the month, start paying attention. You will
Yeah,
notice people around you acting differently. You may notice that, the symptoms that maybe you have noticed that you have them a couple times a month, but you haven't made the correlation yet. This is often the driving force behind this. So yeah, it's just interesting.
and there's like a plethora of symptoms as well that people can be dealing with and maybe don't even realize. Maybe it's just become a part of their normal, if you will.
Mhm.
Um, I think you kind of touched on anxiety as one, allergies, arthritis, bloating, diarrhea, stuff like that. Insomnia, it's probably a big one because at night is when parasites like to party and do their thing.
Yeah.
Um, Skin rashes, psoriasis, stuff like that. I know I've personally dealt with stuff like that as well on my hand, and I've mentioned that as well. And parasites tend to be at the root of that issue, and this is something that people often don't consider, or it's not something that's talked about enough. And it's this is why we decided to come on today as well, because it's something that's affecting everybody, and it's not just in certain countries. It's everywhere. Pardon me.
Yeah. That's what I was gonna say when you're saying, that people deal with this. We didn't start this conversation with we're in Burlington, Ontario, Canada. Like, this is not just a third world country. This is not just an island country. This is not just I went to Mexico and I came home with this, like, throwing up and pooping my pants all the time. This is like this
Yeah.
happens everywhere. And there are so many different ways we can actually pick up parasites and ways that you probably wouldn't even think of. And it's going to happen pretty much on a daily basis. So, like, if the goal is, oh, I'm never going to pick up any more parasites, if you're living, that's pretty much unavoidable. But, what are some of the ways that we can pick these up, Amanda?
Well, we were recently at a beach, and that is a key way to do that if you're walking barefoot anywhere outside. That's a quick way for them to just kind of enter your body just through your feet. Um, if you consume any sort of vegetables, they like to hang out on there. I do enjoy not so cooked steak, and this is another way that they can get into our system because parasites are in in meat products. They're also in sushi. If you have pets, which a majority of people out there I know do, this is where they can come from as well. And with pets and even any other animals like horses, they are treated at least once a year, twice a year. They're a dewormer is often used for them. And so it's like, why are we any different? And we can get those parasites from these animals as well. Because I know some people out there do enjoy having their dogs, and like cats are a little more, they do whatever they want basically. So if they're jumping in your bed and um, they have any parasites, they can cross contaminate essentially, and you can get them as well. So pets are the other one. If you go traveling, as Kate kind of mentioned as well, they're in our water, the soil. They're just kind of all over the place. So it's just something else to be aware of.
Yeah. And parasites are, we've talked about a bunch of different things you could deal with. So it could be headaches, it could be the
Mhm.
gastrointestinal, so the diarrhea, the nausea, the vomiting, the mental stuff we talked about as well, the anxiety, we talked about not sleeping. And ultimately, a lot of the times when you're dealing with something health wise and you've tried all kinds of things, or there doesn't seem to be any answer, any reason why you're not getting better or why it's not going away, a really big reason why this can happen, even from a medical perspective, is things that aren't seen are the underlying infections. And parasites are a really big underlying infection that's often missed. And, we have an immune system. And yes, our immune system is designed to keep us safe. And yes, when, parasites are at a level that the immune system can handle, you're not going to have these symptoms and these health challenges as well. But when they start to become too much of a problem, this is where you can have these symptoms. And this is where your body needs support. Like, if you're having the headaches or the nausea or the trouble sleeping or the teeth grinding, all of these things, these are messages from your body that, like, something is going on here and I need your help. So, ultimately, like, you could go to your doctor, you can get blood work done, you can get even stool samples is one of the ways that they'll test for parasites. They typically won't test you if you haven't been in a third world country or in an island country or out of the country in the last, 1 to 5 years. But these are things that are often missed with these forms of testing. Just because it's missed doesn't mean it's not still an issue and it's not still something that we need to take a look at and consider, right? And that's where, we use quantum nutrition testing, which is a way of testing your body from like a frequency base to see, is there something that's not
I'm gonna take
working
you back a
properly
second because why are they missed? Because they're doing,
or it's missed. Yeah,
well,
go
one
for it.
is fecal testing or blood testing are two of the options, or I know there's some other ones. But that's not capturing all of your body. Essentially, that's just a small segment of time, and generally, parasites could be anywhere in your body, so they're more likely to be in your tissues, which are not gonna be able to be tested, so to speak, to find out that result. This is, as you said, where quantum nutrition testing, which we do, is very effective to find out what's going on with your body.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's about testing, it's an energetic level. So there's a frequency of organs that are functioning well. There's a frequency of organs that aren't functioning well. There's also a frequency of things like Lyme, things like protozoa, things like, malaria, things like all of the different, what did you call this? The unwanted house guests that
Yeah.
are living in your
Or the roommate,
system.
depending on your situation.
Yeah, exactly. So if that's a problem for you, medicine, they try, but there's situations where they're not going to find that. And so, if these guys, I have my little parasite here. It's hard to make him big on the screen. But if they're living in your system and they're eating your nutrients and they're eating your neurotransmitters and you're getting all kinds of symptoms, um, this is an issue and this is something that we need to take a look at. And the reason, as Amanda said, the reason we wanted to talk about this today is because we have a full moon happening tonight. And
Mhm.
so, if this is something you haven't recognized in the past, this is also a really good time to pay attention. And am I having increased symptoms? Are my kids having, increased symptoms? Are they more irritable? Are they grinding their teeth more? Do you have more sugar cravings? That's another
Mhm.
one. These little critters live on sugar. So they're going to like make you crave sugar worse than ever kind of thing, right? So there's so many different things that can come up, but ultimately, like paying attention to your body. We know our bodies and our systems better than anyone else. And a lot of the times, if you go to your doctor or you go, to get tested and they come back and say, oh, everything's normal, but you still feel like crap, everything's not normal. There's still something that needs to be dealt with. Right. So, yeah, I mean, what else did you want to share? We've talked about where you get parasites, some of the symptoms that you can be dealing with,
Yep.
how we can recognize this around the full moon. Anything else you wanna share, Amanda?
Well, even if you could be dealing with, even if it's like headaches, which could be related to them, if you're not sure, like, when it's happening, you could always keep a log or a journal of this and make note of when these are happening for you, and even what you're eating around that time, because then you can kind of make all the correlations to, yes, it is a full moon when I'm experiencing this, and, "Oh, look at that, I am eating more sugar or carbs or whatever," and it's just kind of things to kind of piece together as far as what's going on with your body and what you're experiencing. Because these little suckers can be anywhere in your body, from your brain to your liver, your heart, and intestine, lugs, anywhere in your body, and causing problems. And they quite enjoy moving around to different areas and interfering with the functions of your body, in your ducts, and even in your pancreas, causing issues there. Like, there's just so many things where they can impact the body, and most people are unaware of that. And even if they're kind of hanging out in one specific area, the body might try and encapsulate them in, I don't know, a section area. I don't know what you want to call it. My brain's not working. Probably have my own parasites going on. So basically, your body is trying to protect you, so they can encapsulate something that's foreign to your body. And parasites could be that. They are often basically misdiagnosed for other things, where it could be parasites that are really at the root cause of what's going on with things. So it's a fun topic to talk about, and it's also, at the same time, it's gross. But
It is
really,
gross.
yeah,
It is gross, and that's a lot of the times, when we start talking about parasites, people are like, "Ooh, that's disgusting. I don't wanna think about that." But when you start to kind of recognize, like, "Oh, the issues that I've been dealing with, this could be a parasite thing." And when you were talking about, like, the cysts, there's the word,
yeah,
the things that they can encapsulate in as well. Another area, you mentioned the brain, the heart, um, the the liver, the other organs, the areas that these like to like reside in. A lot of the times we hear parasites and we just assume the gastrointestinal, the gut system,
mhm,
because they can be linked to constipation and diarrhea.
yep.
There's longer parasites. You can talk about that if you want after how big they get and
Oh
how
god,
long they live
I got
inside of
the
us. But
stats somewhere here.
there's worms. Those ones stop you from pooping. They release a chemical into your
Mm,
body that that makes you constipated because pooping pushes them out of your system. They don't
Yeah,
want to leave. They're getting everything they need. You're feeding them, they're getting all of your neurotransmitters, they're
yeah,
getting
they
it's
keep
a
it warm,
pretty
pretty cozy.
easy place to live. They don't wanna leave. And then there's the little parasites are linked to diarrhea. So the changes, if you're dealing with those things, a lot of the times, what do we take? We take Imodium. We go to the doctor, and maybe they give you different things to stop the constipation or to stop the diarrhea. But why is it happening? Right? We need to figure out what's the reason your body's doing this. But when you said like the cysts and stuff too, so sorry, I got sidetracked. We assume that it's all gastrointestinal, but they do. And another big area that they live, like I said, for cysts is in the female sex hormones, sex organs. Here we go. Ovaries. Anyone dealing with ovarian cysts, that can be parasitic. Anyone dealing with fibroids. There's been studies, there's been reports where they go in and they remove a fibroid or they remove a tumor, and it's actually cysts or sorry, it's parasites. Oh my goodness, I've got full moon brain, just like you. The parasites are like encapsulated. The body's trying to protect you, so it's making a shell around these, and this can be tumors, cysts, fibroids. Um, and it's ultimately they're interacting with the body's ability to do the things that it's trying to do properly. So
Yeah.
this can cause all kinds of issues for you. So it's
What's the
important.
key thing we hear as well about around, heart surgeries and things being removed? Vegetation was found, and that was removed. It's like, what is vegetation exactly? And this is when they find parasites because they don't wanna tell people and freak them out probably. Like,
Yeah,
this is
it's
when we know
crazy.
that it's parasites. We know there's a way to handle that and help get them out of your body and stop them from causing problems. I found the, information on the how long they can get because you've already covered that they can be microscopic in size, but they can be up to 20 to 30 feet even and live for 20 plus years in your body, which
It's
is
crazy.
mind boggling to even consider. They also like to lay eggs while they're in your body, and like the range of that can was anywhere from what I found was 300 all the way up to 200,000 eggs per day. So this is another reason why we want to get on top of them and handle them and make sure our body is in balance. Because as you said already, when our body's not in balance, this is when they start to pick up their party and get all their drinks together and their buddies and start causing more problems. And you might start feeling more of those symptoms either get worse or maybe you're experiencing more symptoms. So this is why it's so important, pardon me, so important to know what's going on and find the cause and deal with it.
Yeah.
Carrie's
And
freaking
and the 20,000 eggs a day is also another reason why this isn't a one and done
mm-mm.
thing. Like we both deal with parasites. We, take parasite supplements to help get them out, to help kill them, to help deal with them. You don't go for a massage once and you never need a massage again. This is a similar thing. Like this is something they can lay 20,000 eggs, 20,000 eggs a day. That alone is disgusting. But this is why we need to be staying on top of them, like you said,
Mhm.
or really paying attention and making sure we're giving our body the support that it needs. Because it's not you don't just like kill them and then I'm done. It's over. I don't have to deal with this again.
Yeah,
I mean, if you didn't want to live or you didn't want to eat vegetables or you didn't want to eat meat or touch your pets or walk outside or breathe the air or drink water, okay, maybe you wouldn't have to deal with them again, but it's life, right? It's not to scare you. It's not to
not
say
reality.
do those things. It's
And
just, yeah,
this kind of emphasizes the point of basically the road to health is a journey. It's not just a small time frame. With anything going on, you've been dealing with symptoms for how many years, how many decades? It's not a 3-month plan and you're fixed and everything's great. It's time. It's a matter of making changes. You start with one change and then start adding on to that.
yeah,
It's a journey. It really is. And there's a lot more going on than we I think we think there is. And as you said, there's so many toxins in the world. It's a journey to health and it's always it's always taking those steps towards that the best you can. Like, it's never gonna be perfect. There's always gonna be maybe you'll have a treat or something here or there, or something happens, that's life, but it is a journey making those steps as much as you can towards, making yourself healthier.
Yeah, and that's kind of an important thing that I wanna make sure you understand is that if there's something going on with you, a lot of the times if we have health issues coming up, like I had MS in the past, I have MS according to some people, and when something health comes up for you, it's taking a step back and realizing that, "Why is my body not getting better?" Because ultimately, as humans and as, inhibitors on this planet, like, our bodies are trying to heal themselves all the time. And the only times that this is not able to happen is when there's something getting in the way, something interfering with the body's ability to heal, or if there's something missing. And parasites are a big part of both of those because parasites are one of the something getting in the way. They very much can be a contributor to that, but they also are a contributor to the deficiency because like I said, they eat our neurotransmitters, they eat our nutrients. They can rob us of, the foods and the things that we're trying to do to make ourselves healthy. And so, if you've got parasites and the infection in your system is overwhelming, both of those are going to be a factor. You are going to have, a deficiency and you're going to have something getting in the way. So it's just an interesting way to think about things. We're so quick to say, like, oh, so for me, MS is labeled as the problem. MS is the reaction, MS is the symptom. MS is the body saying, something is wrong here. Something needs your help. I can't function properly. And it's just an interesting way to think about things. So,
Yeah. I just wanna say that again because I what you said just simplifies it so much more so. So, basically, when there's something going on in your body, either there's something missing, there's a deficiency, or there's something there that doesn't belong. Yeah. The little guy kills me. That's the simplest way to put it. When you've got something going on in your body, you're deficient in one way, or there's something in your body that doesn't belong. And I love how simply stated that is to get the point across that something's not working in your body. And this is where we can help with that. With quantum nutrition testing, we can find out what is going on in your body, what's the cause of whatever you're dealing with, and then find out what your body needs to get it back into balance. So awesome.
yeah. And, like, the what's getting in the way is a big part of where we start because, I mean, you can go to any supplement store, you can go to the grocery store across the street from us, you can go to lots of places. There's lots of options for supplements, right? There's
Yeah.
lots of options,
Tons.
we can go and eat organic food, we can put lots of things into our system, that's the easy part. It's the figuring out what is getting in the way of your body being able to function properly. We're surrounded, you mentioned a little bit earlier, we're surrounded by toxins in this world. We inhale them, we touch them, we eat them, we see them, we are radiated by them. I'm in front of a cell phone and a computer right now. So is Amanda. And so we're constantly being like assaulted in a sense from tons of different toxins. And if that's the case, and if you're not supporting your body and dealing with these things, all of the piles of supplements that you're putting in and the food that you're putting in and all of these things, it may not do it. You may need more because you need to figure out like what's getting in the way, what's getting in the way of getting healthy.
I thought you were actually gonna go to the point of when you go to any sort of supplement store, there's just like a wall of supplements, and as you I thought you were getting to the point of there's so many out there that you could take and you could purchase. This is where QNT will help you find out what works for your body, what your body resonates with to help support it getting back into balance. And that's the other critical thing. You could be you could think you are doing all the right things for your body, but maybe it's just not the right one for you. There's maybe
Mhm.
some tweaking that can be done, right? It's just another layer to it to consider.
Yeah. Yeah, making sure it's the right one for you is really important as well, and I mean, quality is important. when it comes to everything, when it comes to supplements especially, like, there are brands that don't do quality control on their products. There are brands that can have heavy metals in them or other chemicals, or what it says on the body actually isn't what's in there. I heard something a couple days ago about how, like, a large percentage of supplements, you aren't actually getting what the label says. So, making sure that it's a good quality one and making sure that it's the right supplement for you is very important for sure, because otherwise you're just guessing, right?
Exactly.
And ultimately, like, maybe you'll feel a bit better, but don't we wanna fix things and find out what your body needs and help you get there?
Yeah. Yeah, that's personally my goal, to find out what specifically my body needs. Okay, it wasn't just on my end. I noticed that as well, Carrie. It'll be reposted again, after, so hopefully, if you're able to, you can rewatch it. Basically, Kate was saying that we need to figure out what our body needs, specifically, rather than, just guessing. Because this is where people talk about having the expensive pee, I think. You're just peeing out whatever you're taking, and if you're not using techniques like QNT to get the right, uh, product for you, then it's kind of basically that, a waste of money. Any final words you wanna throw out there?
Um, I don't think so. I hope you got some value from this. I know parasites are disgusting. It's not a fun conversation, I get that. But the fact that it's not talked about all that much doesn't mean that we should not talk about it. Right? This is information that is really important to know, and that's why we wanted to share it with you, because we've seen huge differences happen in ourselves and in clients and in other people as well when they start supporting their bodies and dealing with the underlying infections and the underlying reasons why they're having issues. And parasites is a big one that we've seen some pretty huge improvements because of. So, yeah, hopefully you got some value from this. Um, and yeah, if there's anyone that you know that's struggling with any of these things, share it. Please share this with them. And if you have any questions, reach out anytime. I'm sure Amanda will touch on that as well.
Yes, absolutely. And if you wanna look further into it, you can go to, like, the links in our bio and check that out, and if you wanna find out any more information on any of the health topics, we also have a podcast, Limitless Health, that's also in our bio if you're at all interested. So yeah, as Kate said, I hope you found value in this. And if you have any questions, please reach out to us. If you have any suggestions for topics you want to hear about, you can send those to us as well. We'd love to hear that. So I think that's kind of it for today. Thanks everyone who hopped on live. We appreciate you watching. And for anybody who's going to watch the replay, also please reach out if you have any questions. So again, I am Amanda Golightly with Limitless Health, and you are?
Kate McDowell.
Thanks again for listening, and live well naturally.